What's up guys, it's TalkTalkDragz and today I want to admit I was wrong about the Steam machine, very wrong, and I think the mistake I made was that, I wasn't really very interested about it when, I'm not saying I didn't think it was cool, but they did say that it was going to be more in line with the price of a PC, and I didn't really care enough to do my research at the time, so I didn't really look into any of the components and how expensive they actually were, so I just assumed, oh, maybe over $1,000. But no, I was very much wrong. People have proved me wrong, and it's going to be actually probably be somewhere around $700, which I think is a brilliant price. But it's important to note that's not confirmed. Look, I mean, apparently the parts put together, if the price it takes to actually buy all the components and build the PC yourself, approximately $900, they said. But I think most people are saying it's going to be $700, so I think that's probably the safest thing to assume. But yeah, I was very much wrong. I think this is a brilliant price for the Steam machine, $700, because that's similar to the price of a PlayStation 5 Pro. And that's why apparently the Sony and other console companies are actually quite intimidated by this, because, you know, this could cause a serious threat. Well, maybe not a serious threat, but it could take some sales away from them. And I would like to see that happen, actually, because it's going to be a bit boring just seeing PlayStation at the top all the time, because, you know, Xbox are they're falling off. Their next gen isn't going to get any sales, I don't think. But yeah, I think this is really positive, actually, because, you know, so many people don't have access to Steam or PC games. So I think this is a really good, cheap alternative for people who want to access those games. And if you don't know the specs of the Steam machine, they are pretty decent. If you look here, so it's got it's going to have an AMD Zen 4 CPU with 6 cores, and it's clocked up to 4.8 gigahertz. AMD RDNA 3 GPU, 28 compute units, and 8 GB GDDR6 VRAM. So looking pretty good so far. 16 GB RAM. So yeah, those are all pretty decent. And I think, you know, obviously keep in mind this isn't supposed to be some ultra high-end PC. This is supposed to be something that works, you know, that's something that people can play and they can actually, you know, play things properly without any lagging or anything. I think there's going to be options to get it from 512 gigabyte SSD to 2 terabyte SSD, which is also expandable via micro SD. And yeah, so it's going to be capable of 4K 60 FPS gaming, which is pretty damn good. When you consider it's going to be like £700 or $700, I mean. Yeah, so there's going to be ray tracing and HDR. It's going to also, with connectivity, it's going to have 1 gigabit Ethernet, DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.0, which is very interesting, that HDMI thing. I'll get to that in a minute. 1 USB-C, 4 USB-A, Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3, and it's going to be running SteamOS 3, which I'm very interested about SteamOS, but I'll get to that in a minute. But first I want to talk about the HDMI 2.0. This doesn't really matter too much about what I'm talking about, but it's very interesting actually what's been going on recently. Actually, it's not going to be HDMI 2.0, it's going to be HDMI 2.1, but they don't have the licensing to put HDMI 2.1. I was watching something about this morning, that they were saying, basically, I can't remember how the video went, but it was something like HDMI basically being really greedy with everything. And to be honest, I didn't really even think they were a company. I just thought that was a type of cable, really. And yeah, obviously, SteamOS 3 is very interesting, I think, because it's not. I think that goes outside of this specific PC. I think, you know, this could actually go beyond gaming and go on to be, you know, an OS that people who don't even play games use, because I think there's been a lot of stuff recently about Windows 11, how Windows 11 has basically been crap recently. People are sick of its bloatware, and that people want to switch from Windows 11, but they don't want to deal with the non-user friendliness of Linux, which I think is very fair enough. So I think maybe SteamOS could be there to solve that problem, make an OS for people that want to leave Windows for its bloatware nonsense, but also don't want the non-user friendliness of Linux. So I think that's a really good opportunity for Valve to do something there. I think that'll be really cool if we can get a new operating system that's both user-friendly and doesn't have the bloatware of Linux, Windows, I mean. So yeah, all very exciting stuff, really, about the Steam machine. I really think it will be a success. I think it's got a lot of promising things on it. I haven't really heard much negative about it, to be honest. Yeah, I think it's really exciting. I think they're going to release it in the first quarter of 2026. So that's basically from January to March, obviously. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get one of these because obviously, like I said, I want to save up for an actual proper PC and upgrade my current PC instead of buying this. But I might still buy it, you know. That I think maybe if I win the lottery, you never know. If I win the lottery, then I'll be getting it. You know I will, and I'll be reviewing it as well. That'd be really cool. But yeah, very very interesting. I really love looking into this. Really, to be honest, I think it's a very very interesting thing to look at when you look at, you know, I mean, the specs as well, obviously, it's not like they're crap specs, you know, they're pretty good specs, and it's going to be, well, we don't know if it's going to be $700, but that's looking very likely. So cheap for people who don't want to save up for an actual proper PC, and also, you know, it's not going to be terrible. So very, very, I think it's very good news, actually, a lot of the stuff that's come out about this. And that's all I really have to say, so I'll see you in the next one.